Okay, bye.
Okay, 6.6, solving radical equations. So this whole section is about if you have radicals on one side of the equation or on both, how do we solve those and get an answer for what x is. So just like if we're solving an equation for y, we want to isolate the radical onto one side. We need to raise each side to the power of whatever radical we're taking, and then we need to solve. So all we're going to do is practice a bunch of those. Okay, so if I want to solve the cube root of 2x plus 7 equals 3, how do I get rid of that radical? Cube both sides. I'm going to cube both sides. I'm going to cube this. I'm going to cube this. So I end up, this cancels. I get 2x plus 7 equals 3 cubed. What is 3 cubed?
What's that total?
27. And I have this. So then I subtract 7, yeah? Then you get 2x equals 27, or 20, divide by 2, and x equals 10, okay? So, pretty simple to solve that, yeah? Those are the easy ones. Okay, here's a word problem. Wind velocity in a hurricane. The mean sustained wind velocity, v in meters per second, is given by the equation v of p equals 6.3 radical 1013 minus p, where p is the air pressure in millibars and the center of the hurricane. Estimate the air pressure at the center of the hurricane when the mean sustained wind velocity is 54.5 meters per second. So what do I need to do? What do I plug it 54.5 in for? For what?
Per second.
For v. It's my velocity. Velocity.
Oh dear.
54.5 equals 6.3 square root of 1013 minus p. Now what do I do? How do I get the square root by itself? Okay, what do you mean take out 6.3?
Cube it, and then cube the
No.
outside. Subtract it.
There is no cube going on here.
Subtract it.
There's no...
Square it.
Stop talking.
Subtractions, what's this?
Stop talking. Think before you speak. Is there a subtraction sign between these?
Divide.
What am I doing?
Divide.
Dividing, because it's being multiplied to that. Let's use those beautiful brains. What is 54.5 divided by 6.3? What is 54.5 divided by 6.3?
8.65.
8.65, good. See, I know how to do this math, so I don't need to practice it. So then I have this. Now what do I do? Square it, yes, square both sides, because I need to get rid of the square root. What's 8.65 squared? 74 point what?
74.82.
Okay. So let's just round it to 74. Yeah, 74.82 equals 1013 minus p. Now, what do I do with that 1013?
You subtract.
I subtract it. Good, thank you. So what is 74.82 minus 1013?
Negative 938.
Negative 938.18.
172. Yeah.
Equals negative p, and then I divide by negative 1, so p equals 938.18, and that is this.
Can you abbreviate it in B?
No, because MB is megabytes. Okay, so that's how you solve that. Pretty straightforward when we think. Okay. From there, you then have equations like 4x to 2/3 equals 36. How would I first solve 4x to 2/3 equals 36?
Divide by 4.
Divide by 4, good. Divide by 4, what's 36 divided by 4?
9.
9. Now, if I have a power of 2/3, how do I get rid of that power? Let's make it easy. What, Anna?
Flip it.
Yes, let's make it easy. Yeah, let's make it easier by raising it to the reciprocal power. So I'm going to raise this to the 3 seconds so that it cancels, which means I raise this to the 3 seconds. So x equals 9 to the 3 seconds. Now, Maddie, what do you want to do? Take the square root of 9 cubed. What's the square root of 9?
3.
Okay, no, it's not just 3, it's what? Plus or minus 3. If I have an even power, I have 2 answers. So I get x equals plus or minus 3 cubed. What is 3 cubed? So I get plus or minus 27 as my answer. Okay, so this is my answer. Do not change it into this form until after you've gotten rid of it from one side, because it's easier to flip and multiply by the reciprocal power than to change it into the cube root of x squared. That doesn't come out well, you know what I'm saying? So try to do that for me. Then we get ones like this. X plus 2 to the 3/4 minus 1 equals 7. What do I start with? Add 1. Let's add 1 to both sides first. Add 1, add 1. So get x plus 2
to the 3/4 equals 8.
Okay, now, how do I get rid of 3/4?
Distribute it.
No.
Oh, just kidding.
Reciprocal.
Reciprocal. So I'm going to change it to 4/3, and I'm gonna change this also to, so I get x plus 2, because this cancels, equals 8 to the 4/3. Okay, how do I change 8 to the 4/3?
Cube root.
The cube root of 8 to the 4th. What's the cube root of 8?
2
Is there 1 or 2 answers with the cube root?
plus root.
No.
Just 1. So I get x plus 2 equals 2 to the 4th. What's 2 to the 4th?
32. No, just
No.
kidding.
No.
No.
16.
16.
Yeah.
And then I subtract 2, right? And you get x equals 14. Okay, have those been easy so far?
Yes.
Can you handle doing that math?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the last 2 are the complicated ones. How do I fix this? What do I do first?
Okay. I'd say subtract 1, but
No,
that doesn't make sense.
you already have this by itself, so you're just going to square it to cancel it out. But what happens when I square that?
Oh, it just makes things complicated.
It makes it so I have to do what?
Just
Yeah,
take it out.
FOIL. Because I have this now. X plus 1 times x plus 1 equals 7x plus 15. Because these cancel, yeah?
Ugh.
Okay, so now I just have to FOIL. What's x times x?
X squared.
And then I get x times 1, and I get 1 times x, which gives me,
2x.
and I get 1 times 1, which is. Now, you want everything on one side so that you can factor. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 7x, because I want my leading coefficient to be positive. I just like that.
This lesson's actually really helpful because there were a lot of these on the ACT
CT.
probably. I can't remember.
So then you have x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0, yeah? Now, what multiplies to give me negative 14 adds to give me 5?
7-2.
7, 2. Which one's positive, which one's negative?
-7, positive.
Okay, now, here's the deal. When I get a solution like this means I get x equals 7 or negative 2, yeah? This is called an extraneous solution because there's 2 possible answers. On these ones, you have to plug back in because they're not both going to work and you've got to figure out which one does. So, I'm going to plug back into the original equation. Okay, I'm going to start with 7 and I'm going to say 7 plus 1 equals the square root of 7 times 7 plus 15. Okay, so 8 equals, what's 7 times 7?
49.
And what's 49 plus 15?
64.
So does 8 equal, yeah, because I get plus or minus 8, so I just take the answer I need. I also have to check for negative 2. So I know this works. So I come back over and I say, negative 2 plus 1 equals the square root of 7 times negative 2 plus 15. Negative 2 plus 1 is, and then over here I get negative 14 plus 15, which gives me, no,
One.
positive 1. which equals the square root of 1. Does negative 1 equal 1?
No.
No, so this is not a solution. Okay, so my solution to this equation is x equals 7. You have to plug back in and check. Okay, nothing difficult there, just take some time. And then the last one is a special type of one. When I have two different square roots or two different cube roots or whatever, I'm going to have to do the process twice. And here's why. What would I start with on this? What would I start with? I would square both sides, right? Okay, now here's what happens when I do that. If I square, I don't understand what's happening. Okay, if I square, this side right here, right? Then that's gonna cancel, yes? But what happens when I square this side?
It stays.
You're going to have to do what? How many sections of there?
Oh, two.
Two, so you're going to have to
Boy.
FOIL. So I have this now. I have okay, equals 3 minus x. Now, when I FOIL, what happens when I FOIL this? What is the square root of x plus 2 times the square root of x plus 2?
X plus two.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you all steps. Technically, it goes like this, right? Square root of x plus 2 squared. Yes? What's the square root of x plus 2 times 1?
X plus.
It's the square root of x plus 2. And if I have 1 times the square root of x plus 2, how many of those do I have now? 2. So I have plus 2 the square root of x plus 2. What's 1 times 1?
1.
Okay, so this is my equation. Now I can simplify. This crosses out, yes? Okay. Leaving me with x plus 2 plus 2 times x plus 2 plus 1 equals 3 minus x. Let's combine like terms. Over here, I have a 2 and I have a 1. So I have x plus 2 radical x plus 2 plus 3 equals 3 minus x. I want to get this by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3. I'm going to subtract x. So that I have 2 radical x plus 2 equals 3 minus 3 is 0, and negative x is negative 2x. Okay? From there, I'm going to divide by 2. So I get the square root of x plus 2 equals negative x. I'm going to then square. So I can get rid of the radical. Square. What happens when I square negative x? What do you get? What's negative x times negative x? Positive x squared. Now I'm going to subtract x and subtract 2 so that I can have everything on one side. So I'm going to say 0 equals x squared minus x minus 2. From there, what do I have to do?
Plug it back in.
No, I have nothing to plug back in.
The 2
I have to
on that 2. Oh, foil it. Oh.
what multiplies to give me negative 2 adds to give me negative 1. There's only one factor, negative 2.
2 and 1.
2 and 1, which one's positive, which one's negative? 2 is negative, 1 is positive. So x equals 2 or negative 1. Now, Anna, I plug it back into my original equation. Okay? Now, let's start with 2. I'm going to plug it into the equation that said the square root of x plus 2, right? That's my original equation.
Yes.
And then plus 1, is that what was on the outside? Yeah, plus 1. Equals 3 minus x, right? Okay, let's start with this 2. So I'm gonna say the square root of 2 plus 2 plus 1 on the outside equals 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. The square root of 4 plus 1. What's the square root of 4? So I get 2 plus 1 equals 1, so 3 equals 1. No. Okay. Come over here and do the same thing. The square root of x plus 2 plus 1 equals 3 minus x. I'm going to plug in a negative 1 now. Square root of x, nope, I lied. That's where I want the negative 1. Okay. Square root of negative 1 plus 2 plus 1 equals 3 minus negative 1, right? Am I doing that right?
Yeah.
Oh, this should have a square root with it, shouldn't it? It should have over there too, but it still comes out to the same thing. Because it's 1. Okay, so then I get the square root of 1 plus 1 equals the square root of 4. Square root of 1 is 1 plus 1 equals square root, so 2 equals 2, check. That is my solution. That's what you're working on tonight. All of that fun stuff.